All right, we will call the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Commission to order for November 2nd, 4 p.m. meeting. Start off with roll call, please.
All right, Chair Morgan.
Here.
Vice Chair Manford.
Here.
Commissioner Duncan is absent. Commissioner Griffin is absent. Commissioner Nunley.
Here.
Commissioner Osmany. Not here. Commissioner Ramos.
Here.
Commissioner Ross.
Here.
Commissioner Stajabu. Here. Okay. Commissioner Starks. Not here. And Commissioner Wu. It's not here. All right, we have a quorum.
All right, thank you. So we are going to request that all commissioners and staff keep your mics muted unless you speak. And also, because we're using Zoom, I will be calling on people at the end of each item. If you need my attention or to speak before someone is done doing a presentation, please use your raise hand feature. With that, we will go to public comment, I think.
Yep. All right, persons wishing to address the commission on subjects not on the agenda but within the jurisdiction of the commission may do so at this time. The commission cannot discuss or take action on matters not on the agenda for this meeting. To speak on an agenda item, please use the raise your hand feature or press *9 on your phone. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes per item. And I have no speakers.
Okay. I printed on the back side of my paper, so I got lost.
Oh, hold on. I have a hand raised. All right, 1 second. Let me get a timer going. All right, I have Kay Harris. Go ahead, Ms. Harris or Mr. Harris.
They should go ahead and unmute and speak.
You're still muted. Okay, I'm not getting anything from them. Okay. Hitting the ask to unmute button and nothing's happening.
We will come back. Is she the only one?
He or she, but yes, that's it.
Okay.
We'll come back to them.
Go ahead and take consent items.
All right, all matters listed on consent are to be approved with one motion unless a commission member or the public requests a separate action is taken on a specific item.
Okay.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion by Nunley, second by Ramos. Roll call.
All right, Chair Morgan.
Aye.
Vice Chair Manford.
Aye.
Commissioner Nunley.
Aye.
Commissioner Ramos.
Aye.
Commissioner Ross.
Aye.
Commissioner Stajabu. I see her waving yes. And Commissioner Starks.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay, that takes us to.
And I have another hand raised if you'd like to go back to public comment.
Sure.
It looks like that person may have logged in under another name. Go ahead, Zoom user, you have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Amazing, thank you. I had to log back in and log out so I can have you hear me. My name is Keisha Harris, and I am a resident of Marisol Village in Sacramento. And I would like to know, and I hope this is the appropriate time, to ask how does a resident, if possible, become a member of the commission?
So when a when a position becomes open, if you live in that council district or supervisor district, then the councilman, I'm not going to speak for the city, the supervisor would solicit and appoint a person to fill that position. There are 2 positions that are specifically for residents of public housing. And if you were a member of, if you lived in public housing, you could fill one of those 2 seats. Marisol Village does not qualify for that, I don't believe. So that would mean that as a city resident, you'd have to follow the city council's selection process to fill a vacant position on the commission.
Understood. Thank you for explaining.
And if you would like, my email address is on the agenda, alexander@shra.org. I can send you an email with more detailed information on that. If you email me, I'll email you back, okay?
And
I'll definitely reach out to you.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Nunley is trying to talk.
I was just going to ask, I don't know if anybody has, Marisol Village, which council district is that in, just out of curiosity, so that we could at least help her? Does anyone know?
So
presently it's I'm sorry.
I don't know, it's in the River District.
We're District 3 presently, but because of redistricting, it's going to 4. So it'll be under Katie moving forward, but presently it's still 3 and under Harris.
Okay, I think I need to apologize. I may have stepped on the rules for responding because that's not an agendized item. Brad?
Yeah, so I just wanted to jump in real quick. So thank you, caller. Whatever questions you might have, just please provide them to Amber. And once again, just a reminder for everybody, including the caller, that during public comment, we take the public comment, we listen to the public comment, but it is not a question and answer forum. So thank you, caller, for the information. And then any questions you have, please email Amber and she will be able to provide you the relevant information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other public comment?
No, there is not.
Okay, let's go on to business item number 3.
All right, Marisol Village Block D apartment project final approval. And we have Victoria here to present for you.
Good evening, Chair and Commission members and staff, members of the public. I'm pleased to speak to you tonight about Marisol Village, make a brief update report, and also ask for one approval related to the Block D funding. So just about everybody knows now that Marisol Village is a 5-block project, A, B, C, D, E. At some point, those letters will drop off and we'll just think of it as Marisol Village with different apartment complexes. But right now, B and E are completed. A is nearly complete. It'll be complete by the end of the year. And C is well under construction. 427 homes altogether. B and E was completed construction in June. Our households started moving in June. And as of September, 123 units are fully leased up. This is an illustration, a photograph of the townhouse units in Block E. And generally, there's a wide variety of housing types, all of which are equally beautiful. So construction status for each of the blocks, as I mentioned, Block A is nearly complete. It'll be complete towards the end of this year. Block C is about 15% complete. Block D, we hope to start construction early next year. Other features in the community include the dog park and walking path. We're going to complete that over the next few months, be done by early next year. The Childhood Education Center will start construction early next year. Community improvements throughout the neighborhood are essentially completed. That includes the murals, the sidewalks, improvements, the construction of River District Park. If anyone has not yet visited that park, it's right there on D Street, just a block away from Marisol Village. It has a full basketball court, a number of other games. It's a beautiful, beautiful neighborhood park. And every time I've been there, there's been someone there playing basketball. And Matsui Park is where the Science Museum of Science and Curiosity is now open to the public. And we used our Choice Neighborhoods grant funds to help construct some of the exterior improvements. So that is now complete. And the Gateway Art, anyone who drives down 12th Street will have noticed the very, very large butterfly wings gracing the intersection of Richards and 12th. That project is almost complete. We are still trying to install lighting. So in the dark, the wings will be illuminated and they'll look even lovelier. Right now, there's still some construction fencing, but the installation is complete. Something that has been really exciting is we have had a whole bevy of community events out at Marisol Village. Bicycle events, bicycle helmet fittings, bicycle rodeos, night out in August, art workshops, gardening events are happening weekly. There's a walking club for fitness. There was a fall celebration, a Halloween fest last weekend. So things are really busy on the social calendar. So that has been really beautiful to see. Each time I've been out there after school, the playground is full of children playing. So things are looking nice out there. Here's a photo of a workshop that we did with some teens on with our community mural partner. This was really nice. I remember one comment that was made that the teens who came in pretty much all said, oh, we don't have any artistic talent. We've never done this before. And then just a few days later, lo and behold, they discovered their inner artist. This was really nice. And their work, their finished work actually will be on display in the community center when it opens next year. I want to put in one word here just for teamwork. This particular team is the Transformative Climate Communities Leadership Council, which includes a lot of neighborhood partners. Across the board, there have been so many people's efforts that have come to make this project happen successfully. This group of people includes the tree planters, the gardeners, you can see a hard hat in there. There's somebody from the construction team. So there's a whole lot of people, 500 people have worked on this project over the past few years, and every one of them has played a special part and made it come together. So looking ahead, Block A residents will be moving in around the 1st of the year. The community and the pool areas will open early next year. Block D will start construction. And then we will at last have a grand opening event. I do not believe the exact date has been set, but we are thinking late February. And so the community rooms will all be open at that time. And we hope every one of you will be there, bring your families. We're very excited to have a public event. The Early Childhood Education Center, as I mentioned, will start construction early next year. Then late next year, Block C residents will move in. In the following year, Block D residents will move in. The project will be fully occupied. And then if all goes well, the light rail station will at last open for operation in 2025. So tonight there is one action request for the board, which is the commission, sorry, which is to approve the final funding for Block D. This funding is very similar to what you have already considered earlier this year. I believe it was in March. There's only been a few small changes. The primary change that you're approving this evening is that staff is changing one of the funding sources where it says city housing funds. Rather than it being the PLHA, the public local housing allocation, it will be home funds replacing. And the other funds are unchanged as they were in March. Costs have escalated since March, so we've brought in more tax credit equity to help make up some of that shortfall, as well as some more state mixed income program funds we were able to secure through CalHFA. And that's a big ticket item there, $65 million, but that's what it costs to build Block D. And with your approval, we will be proceeding. Any questions? I'm pleased to answer.
Okay, questions of commissioners. I see Cecile has your hand up. Go ahead.
All right. Thank you so much for the presentation. It does look wonderful and it looks very exciting, and it's really nice to see all of it come together, and to hear about all of the social calendar items is really, really nice. So I appreciate that. And if I'm not mistaken, this is not really a question regarding explanation, but I do understand where you said the city housing funds and what you're asking us to approve tonight. I believe it was the 3 million or 3.3 million, something like that, I think it is, was the change.
That is correct. Within that line item that says city housing funds, there was going to be 3.3 million of PLHA, permanent local housing.
Right.
And we are proposing to swap that 3.3 for home funds.
Right. And that's because the home funds allowed a little bit more flexibility. So now you can take that 3.3 and maybe use it on another project.
That is right? Absolutely true. Yes.
Okay. And I just wanted to be sure I understood that. That's what from reading everything, and I kept having to drill down a little bit, but that's what I got. And I just wanted confirmation of that. Thank you so much for the presentation. I really loved it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cecile. And we'll go to Commissioner Ross. Go ahead, Martin.
Okay. Hello. Yes. Great presentation. I'm excited about the happenings. I had a few questions. The pool. So when it talked about pool areas, is there going to actually be a swimming pool, or is it more like a kids playing pool so kids can learn how to swim and not drown, things like that? Can
yeah,
you tell me a little bit about that?
Full size swimming pool, and we have we have a program plan that residents, there happens coincidentally, I guess you'd say, we actually have a certified lifeguard as one of our residents, and we are trying to develop a program where additional residents can go through the certification program, and that we'll be able to create some resident employment as lifeguards on site.
Outstanding. That's important. Rivers nearby, kids. Anyway, a lot of kids don't get to swim, and pools are hard to come by these days. Sometimes they're shutting them down. So hopefully that one will stay open for a long time. So
Commissioner Ross, one of the things we do as a part of our criteria when we're looking at new developments that include large family developments, we do require more oftentimes than not that a swimming pool be put in, because it's such a large source of recreation for young people. And obviously it gets really hot in the summertime here in Sacramento, but that is one of our requirements.
Yes, it's just kids knowing how to swim. Adults, it saves lives, right? That helps. Yeah. That helps the sheriffs, the rangers, anybody who's going out in the river. That's important. Very important. So, and they're expensive too. All those lessons, so that the kids will be able to have something accessible to them, and as well as the parents. So very good. That's good to know. My second question had to do with the lease ups. So I can't remember whether it was section B or so, maybe there was 187 units. I don't know. I don't have my numbers right. I didn't get to write that down. No, yeah. So what I was curious about is for a particular block, the ones that are finished, are we at 100% occupancy or getting close to that? I would imagine there's high demand, but I just wanted to find out how.
Yes, the 123 units, 122 are rented. One is for the on-site property manager, and we have 122 leased apartments, which is 100% occupancy.
And is there already a waiting list? That's excellent. Is there already a waiting list for all the units? So it should, I would imagine, it's a very nice looking place, I would imagine.
That is correct. There's different waiting lists for residents who are returning, and many of them are already getting all their paperwork together to move into the Block A phase. And then there's a general public waiting list that is maintained by John Stewart, the private property management firm. And we do have 1,000 or more names on the list already for the remaining units.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Those are my questions.
All right, thank you, Martin. Do we have any other questions? Seeing none, is there any public comment on this, Amber?
There's none.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion on this.
So moved.
We have a motion by Nunley, and second by Stajabu and Ross.
Okay. So Chair Morgan.
Aye.
Vice Chair Manfor.
Aye.
Commissioner Nunley.
Aye.
Commissioner Ramos.
Aye.
Commissioner Ross.
Aye.
Commissioner Stajabu. She was the aye. Commissioner Starks.
Yes.
And Commissioner Wu.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
All right, that takes us to a presentation on AB 2449. Go ahead, Amber.
All right.
And Amber is going to do this presentation.
All right, I will share my screen. All right, so my name is Amber Alexander, the agency clerk, and I'll go quickly over the basics of the new Brown Act legislation called AB 2449. So AB 2449 goes into effect on January 1st and provides complex alternative teleconference procedures to allow members of the legislative body to participate remotely. Notably, the bill sets rules for board members' remote participation. In order for an agency to proceed under AB 2449, they must have a quorum participating in person from the same location that is identified on the agenda and open to the public. In this case, each teleconference location does not need to have be identified in the notice or the agenda or be accessible to the public. Only if the quorum requirement is met, a commissioner may request virtual attendance only because of just cause or a result of emergency circumstances. So if a commissioner does participate remotely, before any action is taken during the meeting, they must publicly disclose whether anyone 18 years of age or older are present in the room at the remote location and their relationship with them. They must participate through both audio and visual technology, and they can't teleconference for more than 3 consecutive months or 20% of the regular meetings within the calendar year. So AB 2449 does not amend the teleconference procedures under AB 361. Rather, it offers an alternative option that allows use of teleconferencing procedures without complying with the traditional teleconference agenda requirements. So what this means is the remote meeting rules for AB 361 will expire on January 1st. So we can continue to use 361 through 2023 or until the state of emergency is lifted, which we expect will occur prior to January 1st, 2024. I think the estimate the governor is saying is February. So AB 2449 rules remain in effect through 2025. So after AB 361 is no longer in use, so when we can't use that anymore, we have the option to use AB 2449 or just go back to regular traditional Brown Act requirements. After January 1st, unless further legislation is adopted, we can only use traditional Brown Act rules. So in conclusion, the commission can continue to use AB 361 while there's a state of emergency or while we choose to meet by teleconference. Before we return to in-person meetings, we can agendize the option of using AB 2449 and go into it in much more detail, or we can just switch to the traditional Brown Act procedures. I'm anticipating that a majority of agencies will choose to not utilize AB 2449 due to the complexity of the requirements and the administrative support needed. And I'm available for any questions.
Right, questions of commissioners. Cecile, go ahead.
Okay, so this gets a little confusing. So 2449 goes into effect this coming January, correct?
Yeah, so that's when you can start using it if you choose.
If you choose, so it's still an option. However, we're still under 361 unless the state of emergency is lifted. And as soon as that state of emergency is lifted, then we immediately have to go to either 2449 or back to the regular Brown Act rules?
Correct.
Okay. And I'm not sure. So the governor hasn't lifted that yet.
Correct.
Because for some reason I was thinking I saw something where he lifted, maybe it was the emergency mandates or something else. Okay. But there is a good chance that they're going to be lifted. So if they are lifted, then we kind of need to start making some decisions pretty quickly. Because let's say he lifted them January 31st. So we either have to go to 2449 or back to the Brown Act. Do
Correct.
I understand?
Yes.
Okay. So it sounds like it's something we may want to at least consider, the 2449, so that we don't get caught flat-footed whenever he does lift this.
Yes, so we can agendize that in the future and go into it in much more detail. Like I said, there's a lot to it. That was a brief overview. There's a lot of different rules and procedures for it that we could go into more detail and agendize and discuss and, see if that's something that you wanted to do.
Okay. And yeah, this was just for information, which thank you very much for bringing it to us. I really do appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's something that at some point, maybe after the first of the year, I don't think we need to do anything right now, but maybe after the first of the year, we may need to at least consider putting something on the agenda, it sounds like, so that we don't get caught.
Yes, definitely.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Cecile. Then Commissioner Ramos has his hand up. Go ahead, Andres.
Thank you. And yes, thank you for this presentation, Amber. Super helpful to try to understand. And it's funny to have these 3 different parallel tracks, a lot of complexity there. So the one thing that I would note is I saw that the governor did announce that he plans on ending the COVID state of emergency on February 28th of next year. There's a news press release or whatever on the governor's webpage, I think that they published October 17th. So if that's true, so my understanding from this is that the 361 rules would no longer be effective then pretty much starting for our March meeting if the governor follows through with ending the state of emergency. So basically we would only have like 3 more months of being under 361. So we pretty much would have to plan pretty imminently for going back to in-person. Because even, so as I understand it, 2449 is in-person, but with like a little more flexibility than the traditional, but it's not fully remote the way 361 has allowed. Is that correct?
Yeah, you have to have a quorum in person and you can only teleconference if you have just cause or emergency circumstances. And then if you teleconference, there's a whole nother list of things that have to be done. So it's much more complicated than the traditional Brown Act rules.
Right. Okay. And are we set up pretty quickly to return to in-person, in terms of the physical location or anything?
Yes, we are. We'll be ready.
Okay.
So just to add a little bit to that, we have been working with the company in terms of getting the commission room ready for your return, and before the end of the year, we're pretty sure that all of that will be done.
Okay. Well, the last thing I would just say is I think to the extent that we're able to continue some of the virtual, I mean, if we only have 3 months left of it, I guess we might as well continue to do that. And, and it's over the holidays anyways, for the most part. So implementing in person during the rest of November, December would probably not be the most convenient time to start. So it probably makes sense to wait until the governor makes his official lifting of the emergency. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll go to Commissioner Ross. Martin, you're up.
Yes, thank you. So I think we should actually, and I think Amber said it, but I think we should agendize the AB 2249, if I have that number correct. Because I guess the question would be, are there any commissioners that may be helpful? Should we have a quorum with a physical presence where they can, attend remotely. There may be a need. I don't know. I've never been to a in-person SHRA commission meeting. That's not been. I'm a COVID. I don't want to call myself a COVID child, but I'm a product of it. Sad but true for many of us. So I'm looking forward to our holiday event and meeting most of you. The only one I do know in person is Mr. Starks there. That's because we go a little further back, but everybody knows him. Everyone knows him. So yes, but there may be folks that may have some difficulty at times and may need that option. I don't know. So I did hear talk to say that most agencies won't be doing that, but I do know that there are some that have chairs that they use, things like that. And, I don't know what happens in inclement weather, et cetera. It may be, something that may be useful, at least as an option for 20% of the meeting. So those are my thoughts. I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts.
All right, thank you. We'll go to Commissioner Manford. I know you're up.
Thank you. I think the additional thing to also keep in mind is that we actually had, not recently, but we had agreed to change the start of our meetings to be 4 o'clock. And that was inconvenience of us being able to actually continue doing the telework. I'm not sure if we want to revisit that later on if we are required to come in, because I do understand that many of us have other employments, other places. So being able to actually be there on time, that's something that we definitely have to start to think about, because 4 o'clock is right on the dot, and it's more convenient when you're teleworking compared to needing to travel from one location to the next. So it's just additional things that we should start thinking about.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Ross again.
Yes, I concur with Vice Chair Amanfor. We may need to take a look at that. I'd like that to be agendized for discussion.
Okay, I can add that to the discussion that we have for sure.
Okay. So what is just cause?
You want to hear the whole list?
How long is it?
I mean, there's a just cause is, let's see. I had this ready because I knew someone would ask. A child care or caregiving need, contagious illness, physical or mental disability that is not otherwise accommodated for, traveling while on official business. You can do that 2 times. You're only allowed to do that 2 times. And if you do that, you have to let us know at our earliest opportunity and provide a general description around at least 20 words under circumstances justifying your virtual attendance. And then I think you have to put that just cause on the agenda from what I remember. But I can't remember if that was on there. I think it was. It's a 14-page rule thing, but
Sure.
That's why I was like, we can go over it in a lot more detail later, and I can make sure everyone has the whole thing so they could read it in, great detail.
I think it'd be a good idea to put both these items on a February agenda, or maybe January, the second January meeting. Especially if we want to start memorizing all this stuff and maybe have a workshop or 2 on it. Okay. before we totally delve in. Also maybe covering also what it takes to do the regular Brown Act remote. And so we can make a just comparison between the 2.
Yes, because the regular Brown Act does allow some teleconferencing options also. So
yes. So if I'm in Florida, I can still call in. No video needed and no advance notice other than.
We just have to list your address on the agenda.
Yes. So, okay. Back to commissioners with questions. We have 2 commissioners. I'm going to go to Cecile first and then to Sajavu. Go ahead, Cecil.
Okay. One of the things, if I'm not mistaken, on the, you presented very well, Amber, and thank you so much. And it talks about the remote rules, and it sounds like 2449, they're really encouraging us to go back to in-person meetings, because they make one of the bullets you have here is that a commissioner cannot teleconference for more than 3 consecutive months or 20% of the regular meetings. So it sounds like they're really encouraging everybody to go back to in person. And I think we need to kind of, rather than saying, oh, people can still teleconference, they're really kind of, I think, putting us in the chute to say, no, unless you really have a just cause, you need to be there. Because even if you have the just cause, you can only do that for 3 months or 20% of the meetings. So it's still kind of, everybody needs to start planning. If you're going to do this, it's going to be back in person, I think.
Yes. Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me also.
So rather than just thinking, oh, well, we could do this, or we could, come up with just cause, it's like, just be cautious on that, because it may look like it, but it may not be as easy as everybody's thinking. Thank you.
Sajavu. You're still muted.
I got it. Go ahead.
Okay, I have to go because my battery's about to die. Okay.
Okay.
So I want to say I'm for waiting for it to be an item on the agenda so we can discuss it as an item and vote if necessary. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
And get better soon.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I think probably the old rules of the Brown Act might be easier to follow than the new ones. The new ones reminds me of rules developed in committee without where everybody wants their say. And everybody got their thing in there, which is not always the most efficient. I'll just leave it at that. All right. Any other comments, questions, or seeing none, we'll go ahead with the executive director's report.
Good afternoon. Just a couple of quick things. A reminder that we will be having our November 16th meeting via teleconference. So we'll still continue to operate under the rules that we have now. So that on November 16th, please make sure you mark that on your calendars. And also a reminder, as Commissioner Ross said, our opportunity to get a chance to really see people will be at our holiday party scheduled for December 7th at 4 p.m. at Lavender Courtyard. An absolutely gorgeous development, and really, really looking forward to not only seeing you, but giving you an opportunity to see some of the projects after they're completed. So hopefully everyone will be able to make it out for the December 7th meeting. And that's all that I have.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I don't have anything today, so that opens up to comments and recommendations by commissioners and birthday announcements and wedding announcements and anything. Okay, seeing none, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for the great meeting, Gail. Under an hour. Yay.
Yeah, 41 minutes.